Hawaiian dances.
Enjoy a performance from legendary kumuhula John R. Kaha'i Topolinsky and his halau Kapa Hula Hawaii on the next PBS Hawaii Classics, Wednesday at 7:30 p.m.
You're watching PBS Hawaii, supported by viewers just like you. It's not just TV, it's a lens into the community. PBS Hawaii, home is here.
Local broadcasts of Insights on PBS Hawaii are made possible by the support of viewers like you. Mahalo, and by Ulupono Initiative, building a more sustainable Hawaii by investing in local food, renewable energy, clean transportation, and waste and freshwater management. Hawaiian Electric. To learn about our commitment to sustainability and reducing carbon emissions, visit hawaiianelectric.com/sustainability. Carl Smith Ball, providing legal services throughout Hawaii and the Pacific since 1857, making a positive difference in the communities where we live and work. They can be as tiny as a little fire ant or as large as an albizia tree. Invasive species are having a detrimental effect on native plants and animals by altering our ecosystem and in some cases leading to extinction. Each year the threat grows as these invasive species spread from island to island. We want to know what more can be done to get control of this crisis. Tonight's live broadcast and live stream of Insights on PBS Hawaii start now.
Aloha and welcome to Insights on PBS Hawaii. I'm Lauren Day. Invasive species are animals or plants from another region in the world that do not belong in their new environment. And once introduced, they reproduce quickly, causing harm to the environment, economy, and human health. As the most isolated, populated landmass in the world, Hawaii is especially vulnerable. Outside species were introduced to the island centuries ago, triggering the continuous destruction and even extinction of our indigenous wildlife. With the endless cycle of old and new threats, our panel here tonight will discuss what initiatives are being taken to root out those invasive species. We look forward to your participation in tonight's show. You can email or call in your questions. And as a reminder, you'll find a live stream of this program at pbshawaii.org and on the PBS Hawaii Facebook page. All right, now to our guests in studio. Sharon Hurd is the director of the State Department of Agriculture. She first joined the department in 2007. She's a graduate of the University of Hawaii with a degree in zoology and also has nearly 30 years of sales and marketing experience in the airline industry. Keith Weiser has had a lifelong fascination with insects, and that's what drew him to the grant-funded Coconut Rhinoceros Beetle Response Project. In his role as Deputy Incident Commander, Keith plans and coordinates efforts to control the invasive coconut rhinoceros beetle. Indrajit Gunasekara is with the grassroots movement Niu Now. The community organization is working to restore the importance of the coconut tree as both a cultural and food resource. By day, he's a financial aid officer at West Oʻahu. And Michelle Montgomery is a research manager with the Hilo-based Hawaii Ant Lab. They work with residents and businesses to provide solutions to the impacts caused by invasive ants. Michelle has a degree in agriculture crop protection from Hilo. Thank you all so much for being with us tonight. Sharon, I will start with you, our director of the Department of Agriculture. Can you first tell us how many invasive species are there here in Hawaii, or give us a ballpark idea?
If I said 1 million, I wouldn't be too far off.
Really?
Really. But they have a list. They publish a list of the invasive species that we've recognized, and that list is maybe 40 that are officially noted as invasive species. And why that's important is when we detect it, we can officially go out and treat it with state funding because it's been officially designated as an invasive. Yeah, it's every farm, every ranch has an invasive. Maybe 2, maybe 3. So yeah, there's quite a few of it. And if you ask maybe a cultural practitioner, every insect that's on this island, practically, is an invasive because it wasn't here.
Wow.
Right.
It's a lot of invasive species
Plants
that the
and
Department
animals
Ag
both,
has their
right.
eye on.
Plants and animals both.
Right. I want to hear from everyone on the panel before we dive into the invasive species, before we hear about both of your specialties, Keith and Michelle. Sharon, maybe you can go first. I know you said there's a lot of invasive species here in the islands, but can you name either your top or top 3 invasive species that you think should be controlled right now or first?
Right now. Oh, because it's top of mind for so many residents, certainly the little fire ant. The little fire ant is top of mind because it affects plants, dogs and cats, affects the lifestyle of what we enjoy. It lives in trees. You have, your lifestyle has been impacted with the little fire ant. The second one would be, you know, only because, again, it's top of mind, is the CRB. We had it on Oʻahu for 10 years. We kept it on Oʻahu, and we were okay. And then all of a sudden, it's found on Kauai. So now we have to keep it away from the other, you know, it's on Maui. We have to keep it away from the other islands. And especially with CRB, we call it CRB, we have to keep it away from the mainland. It will just eat, you know, California would be in really bad shape if it ever got there. And the way it's going to get to California, it's not going to fly there. It's too long, right? It's going to be brought in. So it's really important to check everything that leaves this island because we really don't want it to get to the coast.
We'll dive in even further into both of those species. Keith and Michelle are experts on those. Indrajit, for you, you really focus on the coconut trees. What are the top 3 invasive species you would want to see eradicated or controlled first?
Yeah, I mean, mainly we see the coconut rhinoceros beetle has a detrimental effect on the coconut and even committing a genetic erosion of some of the known varieties in Hawaii. And also the coconut mite has effect on the coconut, and we've seen that they are affecting the young nut and not allowing the nut to be fully matured to the state that we can use as a seed material to perpetuate the varieties and to carry through those varieties. Also, well as the ant, thus committing a really damage to the trees as well as the growing material.
Keith, I'm guessing your answer is going to be coconut rhinoceros beetle. Did you want to expand on that?
Yeah, I'm sort of a specialist. I'm, of course, am in meetings and discussions about other invasives, but my focus is 100% on the coconut rhinoceros beetle, and it impacts all of us. People think, well, I don't grow coconuts or I don't eat coconuts, but even as far as tourism is affected, the aesthetics of trees, I think we all enjoy palms, and there's a variety of other species of plants that can be affected by the coconut rhinoceros beetle, including pineapple, challah, sugarcane, and banana. So it affects all of us. It's an issue for food security and the genetics of native plants. Native palms, lolu, are imperiled by the existence of coconut rhinoceros beetle as well.
Michelle, what about for you? You are ant specialists on the panel tonight. Are there several ant species that would be at the top of your list?
Well, right now for the ones that are established in Hawaii, it would be little fire ant. Right now, that's the biggest problem, and we see this as an issue on the Big Island. We've realized this as the issue on the Big Island for many years, and how it basically eliminates the biodiversity and other ant species included where it is established and where it invades. We are always on the lookout for other ant species like imported fire ants and the tawny crazy ant, which are wreaking havoc throughout the United States, the mainland United States. And so if and when those show up, we want to be prepared to attack them and get rid of them before they can establish.
What do these little fire ants look like? How can the average person spot them?
Well, unlike other the red ant species that people have been used to for growing up, many, many decades. The little fire ant is so tiny, it's almost like dust. And so you don't really see it until the problem has gotten so bad that it's almost like a moving ground, like the ground is almost moving. There's so many ants there.
Wow. Yeah. And how would you know if, let's say, maybe you have a property and you have a little fire ant problem? Like, what would pop up as something that, hey, I've got little fire ants here?
One of the main things that people always say before they realize that they have a problem with little fire ants is they're getting bit by something and they don't know what it is. And so they call it like the invisible ukus, right? They'll be stung in their beds. They'll be stung in the bathroom. They'll be drying themselves off with a towel and they'll be stung by something and they don't know what it is because the ant is so small, they can't see it. That is the primary thing that people experience before they realize they have a problem. What we ask everybody to do before it gets to that point is to do a survey in their yard with a little bit of peanut butter on a chopstick, put the chopsticks all throughout your yard, as many as you like, and see what comes to it, and then have those ants identified. Because most times the ants have been there for many years and you just didn't realize it. It's when the problem gets above a threshold, like the population has grown to a point where it's out of control, that's when people start being impacted by it.
Just you talking about the invisible ukus kind of makes me itchy. I don't know if anyone else, they're not here in the studio, but kind of makes me itchy just you talking about it. Are they eating anything in particular that's different from, regular ant you'd see in your kitchen?
These are, I call them opportunivores because they pretty much eat everything. They really, their main diet is sugars. And so they will farm aphids, mealybugs, scale insects, those kind of plant pests that exude that sweet honeydew. They'll also eat nectar from flowers. But when that's not available, they go after other insects. They will eat and prey on other insects. They will also eat the dog food and the cat food. And that's why a lot of times that's how our pets interact with them, is through their food dishes. And it gets in their fur, they sting in the eyes, and the pets can go blind. And so they pretty much eat anything and everything that's available to meet whatever resource or nutritional needs the colony is lacking.
You said it can make pets go blind.
It can.
Wow.
Yes.
Sharon, that's what you were talking about, that the little fire ants affect everybody's day-to-day life. We'll probably come back to the little fire ants shortly, but I want to get to Keith. You have some examples of what a coconut rhinoceros beetle is in studio. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so right here I have some beetles. Some examples of this is a pretty large black beetle with a distinctive horn. The name rhino comes from the rhinoceros-like horn. So these you probably won't see, even though they're in most areas of Oʻahu, because these are nocturnal insects. And it's the adults that are feeding on palms. But they have larval phases that exist in compost and mulch. So we get reports from people who work in those materials, often farmers who have mulch, compost, or soil. And now more residents who might buy soil bags that beetles have burrowed into, and that's a potential vector as well. I've got an example here of a bag that has some boring damage in it. A beetle has bored into this bag, and so there's this distinctive sort of hole with stippling around it from the being torn by the sharp forelegs of that the beetle uses to dig.
Are the beetles coming from the bag, or they find their way to the soil inside it?
It can be both. So the soil inside is good breeding material for them. So they're able to burrow in, lay eggs. If those eggs develop far enough, then they'll turn into adults that will bore back out of the bag and find new places to breed and find palms or other host plants to feed on.
I have a question from Eric and Kailua that, Sharon, I'll direct to you, but this might be something the rest of you on the panel want to chime in on. How do the invasive species wipe out native species? What happens? And why can't a native species fight back and win?
They're all competing for the same food source, usually. And the reason an invasive thrives is because the particular native species that they're preying on doesn't have a predator, so they're kind of ripe. I'll use the example of climate change. Maybe years ago, the invasive species would not have had a chance, but think of the native birds with climate change. The weather's warming, so the mosquitoes can go higher and higher and higher where the native birds are. So they don't have an immunity to the mosquito, forget the name, avian bird flu?
The avian malaria.
Malaria. And so it's new. The world is changing. So the invasives come in, they get established because the conditions have changed. They don't have competition. And frankly, sometimes let's say we'll call Texas and we'll say, hey, we got this new bug. How do you guys control it? They go, the winner takes care of it. Well, we don't have a winner. So the invasives just get entrenched. And then when they're competing, not every time the native species will lose, but they lose because they're not used to the competition and the food source is so limited, the ecosystem gets jostled, and then we have a new dynamic.
Mm-hmm. Indrajit, I saw you nodding your head. It was kind of what you talked about as well with the species that are affecting the coconut tree. That's something that's important to our Hawaiian culture, also important to your home culture. Tell us a little bit about why is the coconut tree so important to you and what the New Now movement is doing?
When we look at the coconut, that in Hawaiian understood as new, and throughout the tropical island, this is the tree that collectively our ancestors choose to be the tree of life. And the reason for that tree to be special and specifically chosen as the tree of life is everything come out of that tree has a functional use. And it's a symbiotic relationship. That tree did good to us, we did good to the tree. And then we look at the tree, perhaps over 80 million years of improvement and coming through the coconut tree. And since our ancestors took interest in growing coconut, the tree became used to us in domesticated form. And pretty much if you look at the coconut trees throughout the world, there is no wild coconut varieties. Like the wild rice, we can find their ancestors still, the wheat and their relatives. But coconut, that gene family, that gene pool, the only living species, the only living tree is the Kokonusupira, cocos, this single tree. And that tells a story of our relationship, our embedded value with the coconut. Even look at all the cultures in Hawaiian, we understand kupu kaniu kupuke kanaka, which when the coconut grows, humanity flourish, which means this tree produces flowers year round. Every moon cycle, every 4 weeks, there's a new inflorescence is emerging. And that is produced not only the nectar, also the pollen that support the insect and the entire population to be healthy. And when we look at the historically, our chiefs and royalty took interest establishing coconut groves. In Hawaii, it's known as Uluniu. And look from the Molokai to Kapuaiwa to Waianae to Pokai Bay. These are hundreds of well-known coconut groves that Ulunius in Hawaii. And if we look deeper into Ulunius is not the coconut plantation. This is a different form of grove, which means that acknowledge genetic diversity. Coconut has so many different varieties. Not one tree is being understood as a coconut in that family. So many different varieties mean there are associated function that also goes with that variety. Like example, the nut standing over here. This variety is known in Hawaii as the one that used to stabilize the fish net. So it doesn't have much, not pretty much the husk that can host a net in any rough current or any rough condition in the water. Also, if you look at certain nuts, like darker shells and the pointed, there's special genetic diversity, there's special varieties. And for us to keep that, that the coconut growth system is supported. Also the community, people who worked with that specific function, they had the room, they has a room, they has a need, they has a space in that grove, which works as a community base and to support a function and the people and the community and the well-being of a community.
Because of the invasive species, are you concerned about the future of our coconut trees?
Yes, we greatly concerned because especially in the time in Hawaii, to yet we don't have a study done to acknowledge what are the diversity exist in Hawaii. If you look at the rest of the world, pretty much everywhere has a special entities and the department that committed for the coconut study and to acknowledge the coconut diversity and the research field. But Hawaii, we don't even know what we have till to this day. In that capacity, while not knowing what we have, and when we have such an invasive species like CRB, we don't even know what the trees we are losing, what varieties will commit the erosion.
Yeah, good point.
You know, as a food source, we understand the cultural significance and we're very sensitive to the importance of the nui for the Hawaiian community. And that really tempers the way we treat the coconut rhinoceros beetle infestation, because we don't want to use any systemic solutions, because the water is the water of life for the population, and they treasure it so much. So we don't know yet what it would do to the actual coconut tree if you start using a systemic, it'll kill the beetle, but will the flowers drop off? Will the water be tainted? Will the meat be tainted? So we really have to be careful and pay attention to the fact that it's such cultural importance. He said it's the tree of life, and how do you mess with that? You don't want to.
Right.
So it's a very difficult dance to treat a tree that has so much significance, or one that's in the golf course.
Yeah.
It's your treatments have to be very different.
Keith, how quickly will a coconut rhinoceros beetle take down a coconut tree or a palm tree?
It depends heavily on the populations and the conditions in the area. So we've seen more rapid decline of coconut trees in areas where there's ample breeding material, giant mulch dump sites, for example. And in some other areas, they've had beetles for years, and the trees are relatively healthy because there's pretty good management of the land around. And we've gone in and done treatments and looked for breeding populations and removed beetles from the landscape. So it's extremely variable, but for a coconut, a fast death by coconut rhinoceros beetle would probably be a couple of years. So it's not a really fast process. And for us, it's been an increase in populations. When the beetle first comes in, there's a little bit of damage, and then it ramps up as populations grow. So that could be faster in some areas where there's an introduction of a lot of beetles initially, and that population can grow much more quickly.
Right, place like Waianae, we witness like in 13 months, the trees in the 13 months before, without seeing even a single damage. After 13 months later, trees were completely dead.
Wow. 13 months, that
Yes,
rhinoceros
in that
beetle.
short time period.
Keith, can you explain, because I'm getting a bunch of questions from our lovely viewers. Mark in Makakilo is asking, do we know where the rhinoceros beetles come from, and does that matter in terms of fighting them?
Yeah, it does in some ways. So their native range is Southeast Asia. They've invaded a bunch of different countries and Pacific islands. So one of the reasons that it is important, because some places have been waging this battle for longer than we have, and we've talked to many people who have worked with managing coconut rhinoceros beetles and taken what knowledge we can from them. There's probably still more we can learn from them. Also, the genetics of the beetle, just like with the genetics of the coconut, the genetics of the beetle can be important, and different management strategies as far as like biocontrols, for example, might work against some strains and not other strains. So in that sense, the origin of the beetle can be important.
Mm-hmm. Can you also dive into just a little bit about the beetle itself? Perhaps one of our studio cameramen can zoom in on the box you have on the table. Keone in Waimanalo is asking, how hard are the coconut rhinoceros beetle shells? Can you crush them and do they bite?
Well, we've had people who said, oh, we stomped on them and then they turn them in and they're still alive. They're cracked, but you know, a boot stomp is not always enough to kill them.
Away.
So extremely hard as far as insects go, so hard exoskeletons. So we usually recommend freezing is a pretty good way. If you freeze them for a while is a pretty good way to kill them. Of course, there are pesticides and things. They take a very long time to drown, so drowning is not a great way to go. But if you do smash them hard enough, they will smash.
They're very resilient.
Do they bite?
Oh, they don't bite. They do have kind of spiky arms, so if you go to pick one up, it's better to capture and kill it. Don't be afraid that it's going to harm you. They may try to dig out of your hands, and it could be uncomfortable, but it's not actually going to hurt you.
How strong are they? What can they dig out of?
They can dig through pretty thick plastic. They can dig through tarps. They can dig through almost any kind of soil. If you've got, you know, cinders on the top of your soil and plantings, they'll dig right through cinders and things like that. So there's not too many barriers that we know of that are reasonable protections for, you know, plantings and things like that.
I do want to get back to Michelle about the little fire ants, but we're getting a lot of questions about the beetles as well. Before I move on, and we'll come back, of course, we'll bounce back and forth, but Keith, can you talk a little bit about what, you know, your team is doing to fight the coconut rhinoceros beetle problem?
Right. When the beetle first arrived on Oʻahu, we were in eradication mode. It was mostly centered around Pearl Harbor area. Geographically fairly isolated. There was an early population in Nanakuli that disappeared, and then populations slowly spread and then quickly spread. So once they began to quickly spread and it ended up on most places on Oʻahu, it was determined that we didn't have the resources or the tools to achieve eradication on Oʻahu, and then we worked on containment. So our plan currently is focused on containment. We can't do treatments across the whole island, so we're focusing primarily on ports to create zones where it's less likely that the beetle will hitchhike on planes or transit out of ports.
Mm-hmm. Michelle, I have a question for you from Martha in Nu'uanu. She's asking, when I get ants in my kitchen, I put out the taro poison, mostly in liquid form. The ants attack it, take the poison to the nest, and they all die. Will that work with the little fire ants?
Sort of. So with every species of ant, they have their food preferences. These are what we use for different types of baits. And so you have different types of baits for different species of ants. In order to know what bait is going to work for the ants you have or anyone has, we need to know the species. For little fire ants, we refer to them as lipid responding because the baits that they like the most are the oil-based baits. So there are specific baits out there, most of them are granular, that are marketed for, quote, fire ants. These have been tested on a different species of fire ant, the imported fire ant that we mentioned earlier, and they work very well for the little fire ant when it's nesting on the ground. But because these ants nest in the trees, on the ground, pretty much everywhere, those granular baits are very limited in their use. They'll only treat the ones on the ground. The ants in the trees aren't going to be affected by it because they got all their good stuff up there. So at the Hawaii Ant Lab, one of my jobs as the researcher over the past 12 years was to help develop a bait that people could make themselves at home with specific pesticides that we get registered for this purpose. And it's made of vegetable oil, water, a food thickener, a little bit of peanut butter, and the pesticide that we have registered. People can mix it up into this slurry, and then they splatter it all over their yard and into the trees. And so that's how you can manage the ants in the trees. Yeah.
What are the little fire ants attacking that has you most concerned? I know we talked about how it can affect our pets, you know, our day-to-day lives?
I'm concerned about it all, personally. I'm concerned about our pets. I'm a huge animal person. You know, I have chickens and ducks and cats and dogs and goats and all kinds of things at our property. And I see the impacts on my animals. Even though I try to treat for them, it's a constant battle when you have all of this infested area around you and ants constantly encroaching in. For agriculture, it's a huge problem because they farm plant pests that can vector plant disease. So on Big Island, what we see is in areas that have little fire ants, they have increased rates of banana bunchy top virus because that is vectored by the banana aphid that the little fire ants will farm. And you know, other people are extremely concerned when the ants are entering their homes, stinging their kids in their cribs. So it's really an all-encompassing thing. Yeah.
Sharon, can you tell us a little bit about how are these invasive species like little fire ants, coconut rhinoceros beetle, other animals, other plants, other problems, how are they getting into Hawaii and what can we do to change that? This is David, one of our viewers who emailed in that question.
Okay. The Department of Agriculture Plant Industry Plant Quarantine Branch, they do their best to stop it at the border. We have 90 agents statewide. And I think I said earlier, but in 1 year, they've inspected over 16 million parcels. And, you know, cargo is quadrupled. I mean, how many Amazon packages did you get, right? So out of that 16 million, they stopped 735. They had 735 interceptions. So how are we battling it? We're checking everything. We're doing our best. And out of that 735, there were some that were not known to be here. So we take them out. Yeah, and it's every port, every airport, every ship. It's a big, big task. So I guess thanks for that, because what I say is you ought to give your plant quarantine inspector a fist bump today, because he saved Hawaii from at least, you know, thousands of, he or she looked at thousands of packages and made sure that it didn't come in. We, you know, how does something come in? Little fire ant comes in on equipment, cars, construction material, bricks, as well as food, plants, and compost. But how do you check everything that's coming into Hawaii? These ants are very adaptive. They come in on pallets. They come in. They live in the cracks of the sidewalk. You know, so it's really tough. But we're doing our best. We don't know how they come in, but they're very, very crafty. They can come in on anything. CRB. We have our thoughts about how CRB came in, but it's probably on a plane or a ship. So just missed that one. Maybe we just missed it in a bag of compost or something. But we're doing our best to keep them at you know, this is insights, right? So an insight is that right now we got insects, we got ships, planes arriving, and our inspectors are checking it.
Can I add to
go
that?
ahead.
So when it comes to invasive species, you have so many different kinds of invasive species, right? You have mammals, you have insects, you have plants, you have all kinds of things. And when it comes to insects, they can be extremely difficult to detect. Sometimes it depends on what it is, right? For example, little fire ants, they were introduced to Hawaii sometime in the mid-90s. We don't really know. It's believed they were imported accidentally through nursery trade with the mainland, somewhere in the mainland. Now, you can have a shipment of nursery stock and only one pot in there may have a single colony or even a single fertile queen. And that is what started the whole thing. When you're looking at an entire shipment of nursery stock or commodity or whatever.
Or car.
Or, yeah, anything.
Yeah, you know, the nursery industry has been targeted as being the bad guy in this, but really, it comes in on everything.
It can hitch a ride on anything. It's a hitchhiker species. We call it a tramp species because it's moved by people. This is the common belief of how it was introduced. I'm not trying to get onto the nursery industry at all, but understanding what the most likely pathway was is important. And what I'm saying is that when you have a huge shipment of something and you're looking for something the size of a pinhead, that's going to slip through. And it's a matter of when it gets detected, what's the response? That's the equally important as intercepting, because there's going to be something that slips through. It's not going to be 100%.
When we detect these, when we find an interception, there's different kinds of response depending on what it is you find. You can freeze it, you can quarantine it, you can, further test. But as she said, it is different treatments, and it's found on so many different things. Our big concern now is diseases. As she said, mammals. Our plant industry division is so focused on African swine fever, avian flu, bovine tuberculosis. So we have the Department of Agriculture staff is so keyed to look for invasives on everything, and then you have your plant animal diseases. So they come in on everything. So it's really hard to key in on one thing.
How are they finding these invasive species, let's say a little fire ant or a coconut rhinoceros beetle, on a Christmas tree or on a package in a car? Is it through dogs? Dogs sniff it, or?
We have dogs, but it's just an inspection. They know what to look for. Okay. They know what to look for.
There's also there's usually like a tracing. When inspectors are looking at commodities or whatever, they look at the source, the origin, right? Is this a bad actor? Should we be more cautious about these commodities and this stuff from this place, whether it's a state, whether it's another country, whether it's, within Hawaii. They tend to know what to look for when things are coming from certain areas. And so they'll have different procedures for different things.
You mentioned, Sharon, over 700
interceptions.
How much of that was someone trying to bring in something on purpose?
I asked that question today. They're thinking maybe 6 in 1 year. People are doing it intentionally. And then, you take legal action. You can really deal with them. But if you somehow get through and you have something that's not legal, do not release it into the wild. Do not dump it into the ocean, because that's the worst thing you can do. Bring it in. We have amnesty programs at the Department of Agriculture. We don't care how you got it. Just bring it in, turn it in. And what I want to say to you, if you have something, we don't kill anything. We have iguanas that were turned in years ago. Recently, we had a power outage at the facility. The first thing we thought about was, those fish, we got to keep those pumps going. Somebody turned them in. The iguanas, we got to keep their lamps going on. Did we care about the employees? Not so much. It was mostly, let's keep these invasives going, because we don't want people to think that they give it to us and then they die on our watch. So
if someone thinks they have a little fire ant problem, coconut rhinoceros beetle on their property, what should they do?
Well, they think they have it. They should do the test so that we can have the experts identify that it is in fact what they think it is, and then we are tasked at the Department of Agriculture by statute to go out and treat at our own cost. The treatments, I think one of the really expensive treatments is called Tango. It's about $300 a quart, but at our cost, we take it out, we treat it. We'll go 5 times, we'll go 6 times, we'll go 10 times if we need to. But that's what they should do. They should call us. Kind of thin right now in staffing, so we certainly, the CRB task force has been there. Hawaii Ant Lab has been there. They're doing yeoman's work, but they should call and let us know. And certainly, is it freezing or is it putting in a bag? What's it?
For little fire ants? Definitely freeze them for at least 24 hours, because they will come back alive if it's less than that. We've seen it.
Yeah, and we have a little bin at the front of our office. They can just drop it in there with their name, and then our guys will positively identify it or not, and then yeah, then we go out there and we'll treat it. We are not as, we have so much CRBs. It's everywhere right now. So our response is a little bit slow, but you do have over-the-counter things that you can buy. You can check the websites, or you can call, and you can actually go in and buy stuff that is on the label, is treatable.
So, Sharon, are you saying that the Department of Agriculture is responding to little fire ant infestations?
Yes?
Which ones?
Well, the ones that we made the news on, the 5 bad actors.
Okay, so for nurseries.
Well,
you guys are responding for nurseries. You're not responding for, are you responding for residents also?
Yes. We had a citizen that is kind of active in the community, and she wanted to do her own little informational, so we made these kits for her. They were really big. We had to like drop it off because they were too expensive to mail. And with the kits, we showed them how to respond, and then they I think there were hundreds of them. And then so we're actually going out and we're helping the public in the residential area. Mililani is a great model. Mililani, they had a little fire ant infestation in their community, but they all banded together, and they don't have any little fire ant anywhere. And our guys went out there and helped them and applied it. And
so I'd like to clarify that for the little fire ants in Mililani, it is ongoing, and that was one of the first infestations that we found on Oʻahu in 2014, I believe, and Hawaii Ant Lab with the Department of Agriculture did respond and did a fantastic job.
But the community was the star.
The
they were the rock
community
stars.
was super supportive and giving us the access, the property access that we needed, and they were just on board from the start. But I think after about around 2017, 2018, I believe, is when there was some retirements and some staffing changes at Department of Ag, and the response on the Department of Agriculture's side started to wane because of staffing issues and understandable and funding issues. And since then, the Hawaii Ant Lab and the Oʻahu Invasive Species Committee has been trying to keep up with the different, all of the infestations that are ongoing. And we are really looking for a much stronger partnership with the Department of Agriculture so that we can all be on the same page and move forward. Yeah.
Sharon, I'll let you add, but then I've got so many viewer questions I don't want to get
what
to.
I wanted to add, I already forgot. What I wanted to, yes, I do remember that. I've used this before, rats and roaches. We all have them. We call them infestation. If you don't pay attention to the rat or the roaches, you can have an infestation. Yeah. But what do? We trap them, we get them. So that's kind of where the Mililani fire ant is right now. They know what to do, and they do it.
I want to get to our viewer questions. This is one of the first Insights shows I've done where I've had kind of drowning in the viewer questions, which is great. Thank you all for participating. So I'm going to kind of do maybe some rapid fires. Maybe we can get to as many of them as possible. Keith, this one's for you. Mary from Kailua is asking, if you see a sickly coconut, how do you know if it's the coconut rhinoceros beetle?
Yeah, there's a high chance on Oʻahu, and one thing I want to clarify is that the coconut rhinoceros beetle is so widespread on Oʻahu that we don't need to know every case where people are spotting them. Just kill them if you find them, and we are only doing treatments and work at the ports, and I don't believe the Department of Agriculture either has the capacity to do any treatments on Oʻahu for residents or businesses either. But you can correct me if I'm wrong on that. And then I also forgot to mention the work that we're doing. We're working with a bunch of different groups on the other islands for eradication as well. But with respect to tree damage, there are V-shaped cuts that are seen with CRB infestations. Other things can cause those cuts, but on Oʻahu, there's a very good chance that's caused by coconut rhinoceros beetle. And then boreholes, fairly large holes at the base of fronds that you will see later in the later stages of infestation. So those are the two major signs in trees.
I know earlier you said you can stomp on them really hard to get rid of them. Eric on the Big Island is asking if you can electrocute them via lights. that sort of thing?
Well, it might theoretically be possible. Things like bug zappers, they actually tested this in the lab to see what kinds of things could be done in breeding sites and things like that. And I don't think electrocution is a very efficient way. I'm sure there are voltages that will do it, but I don't think those are very safe for people either. So don't try to electrocute the beetles. Just use one of the other methods we mentioned before.
Got it. Sharon, this one's for you. Shannon from Hawaii Kai is asking, how many dogs does the state have trained to sniff out invasive species?
I don't have a good answer for you. I know we had two. And then the military is helping us by providing, I think it's law enforcement as well, but they're pretty expensive. We did have 2 for sure.
And Keith, there are dogs that are trained to specifically sniff out coconut rhinoceros beetles.
Yes, we have a team of 3 dogs currently. One of them is quite sick and not working at the moment, but we do have 3 dogs that are owned by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, who's our primary funding agency, who are trained, and we've got 2 canine handlers who are out there sniffing out breeding sites, and so that we can get rid of as many populations as we can.
Dogs are so special. We're so lucky to have them. Moses, this one's actually for you. I'm sorry, Indrajit, this is for you from Moses, one of our viewers. How do we get more people to understand the significance of the trees that are being threatened? Most people seem to take them for granted once they're gone.
Yeah, mahalo for that question, Moses. Yeah, that is one of the work that we are doing is to get the coconut to be used as a cultural resources as well as a food, also for the source that use for ecological functions such as planting the trees to erosion control and other function. And the lacking here is a good education function, education plan, because we don't see much of the knowledge and the materials being produced to engage a local community to work with the coconut and to use that as a food source, or either to use it is as a cultural resource. So getting people to work more with the coconut, even supporting the practitioners in the place. We have makers, apu makers, also weavers, also other people that work with the part of the coconut. And we need a little bit more support on here. And from the state side.
Yeah, we need people like you to come on shows like Insights as well to spread the word about their importance. This question's from Monica in Kahului. Probably could go to either Keith or Michelle, but Michelle, I'll let you take this one. Is eradication possible for coconut rhinoceros beetle and the little fire ants, or do we have to adapt to life with them? That is scary, she says.
It is a scary thought. I guess the answer to that question depends on which island you're on. For Big Island, it's not feasible without maybe $1 billion and everybody on island participating, which is unrealistic. Oʻahu, it's iffy. We know of, we're up to 54 sites. 5 of them have been eradicated. Of those, that's what we know of. And so there's bound to be quite a few more, a lot more out there that we don't know about. And unless the pathways that are spreading them aren't shut down, that's personal responsibility, that's business responsibility, everybody's responsibility. If that doesn't get shut down, then it won't work. It won't happen. Right. It will have to stay into containment and lessening that blow. And so we need the public to help with that. Maui, Kauai, probably still possible to eradicate.
This question's from John in Hilo for both of you. Do you feel that there should be more education and outreach, even in schools, about the problem to make more people aware of invasive species so that people can report something out of the ordinary or perhaps create a chance for eradication?
Yeah, we've got a great team. We've got 2 dedicated outreach associates who go out to schools. They go out to stakeholders. So we're out there telling as many people as possible. Going on news programs like this is one of the best ways to get the word out there. So yeah, we're trying very hard, but more is always better.
Yeah, and I can't stress enough the importance of all of the island invasive species committees in the outreach and education. I mean, they do so much on the ground control, but also with interacting with the communities. We at the Hawaii Ant Lab, our extension is on the Big Island, and so we focus more of our outreach efforts on the Big Island, and we're starting to grow it more here on Oʻahu. But we rely very heavily on the invasive species committees to go out and get the word out into the schools and have activities and bring the families involved to try to build that awareness throughout the entire culture here.
Can I add something to that? You know, especially when we look at something like coconut and dealing with the coconut rhinoceros beetle, it is not only we got to look at the problem, also there are bigger problem and the larger community. Especially we are looking at the place that doesn't have a good security for the food and needing to safeguard what we have, needing to put more effort to save and to support the function and bringing more entities and getting the community to understand and to building a relationship. And as the new now, we believe that new is a relationship that's rooted in the community and aloha aina. In order for relationship to function, we need to have a community. We need to understand what is the function, what is the purpose, and bringing those components together and digging deeper to this is not only an issue of CRB. This is the issue with the not being valued the new as a tree of life. It's not being supported to be the kupuka new, to having that two components together, kupuki kanaka, having that community relationship. Once we had the community to support, when the community start to understand, when we can support the community to come together, like example, like the work that we are recently started with the Waianaikos Comprehensive Health Center, Elapayo Service, Social Service, with the leadership of Alisa Higa and Jessica Ali'inohomoku, starting to bring the community together and having like local challenge, eat local challenge, and getting community to more utilize the food that locally available and seeing the truly this is the tree of life. How can we bring more people to eat coconut and to plant more coconut, care for the coconut, and to understand other subsequent activities that needed to be understand and to support.
Yeah, really understanding the importance of the coconut tree
And
to then know what you're protecting.
And also with the depth with the history, historic component, why it was being planted in Hawaii, like a chiefly practice, why there are uluniu, why there were coconut growth in each island, and going back to truly to the uluniu and looking up what is available, what is down, who is here.
We just have a few minutes. I want to try to squeeze in a few more viewer questions. Sharon, have we made any headway in eradicating any particular species? This is a question from John in Kona.
Okay, I'm going to say we have, but this is a banner year for us. Last year, the legislature gave us $1 million for a CRB response and $1 million for green waste. So this year, we're bringing in a team of, you mentioned the Pacific Rim, those countries, those nations that have been impacted so heavily. We're bringing in a team. We're going to talk about how they're dealing with it, and then we're going to implement those practices. And tell you how clever these coconut rhinoceros beetles are. They can actually go now 6 feet under. They're digging down. So we have to come up with different tactics to get them. Yeah, we're making headways. But our number one function that we're trying to do now is catch them at the port. Don't let them even come in. So the headway we're making is that we're intercepting all these creatures that are coming in. We're watching for diseases. Yeah, I think we're making headway. But right now, as we're talking, right now, the little fire ants are walking, the CRB are digging. So, it takes all of us.
Yeah. That last thought, it takes all of us, leads me to, I think I'm only going to get in one more viewer question. Andrew from Haleiwa is asking, what can we do as regular people to help fight invasive species in general, but then also in particular fire ants and these big beetles? Sharon, maybe I'll start with you and then we'll do just a quick final thought.
Sure. It's like the terror ant bait that Michelle is referring to. There are over-the-counter retail products that they could buy. They would look it up. And it's on our website, I think, the retail ones that you can get for outdoor use and indoor use. But you call the Department of Agriculture, we have the staff that actually goes out and knows what treatment to use. It's expensive. The treatments are expensive. You wouldn't use some on a beach. You wouldn't use some. So yeah, give us a call. We are tasked by statute to provide the chemical treatments to solve the problem.
So if you think you have a problem, you can call the Department of Agriculture.
Yeah, once it's been identified and you have a problem, yeah.
We just have a minute and a half left. Keith and Michelle, I'll give you guys the last words on both of your specialties. What would you like people to know?
Yeah, I think reducing the transport of goods, so using as many local commodities as possible and not having to move material in that could be infested. It makes an easier job for the inspectors, and it's good for our communities, and a community is important for CRB treatment as well. We all have to be on the same page and together to get that done.
I would say if something is weird, report it. You don't know if it's new. Or if it's been here a while. There's no shame if it's new to you, but it's been to the area for a while. So 1, report it. 2, if you're found to have an invasive that is listed and under control by one of the sponsored programs, either Hawaii Ant Lab, Department of Ag, the CRB program, or any of the other programs, cooperate and provide access. Talk to us. Don't just ignore our calls, because we have to have permission to get onto the properties to help. And if we don't have that, our projects, we don't have any kind of authority to force that. So cooperate, let us help you, because we don't care what you got going on. We just want to kill ants. I'm sure he just wants to kill beetles.
Yeah.
You know, that's what we like to do.
Yeah, great tips from everyone. At the end of the day, it's the community's got to come together to try and tackle this massive problem. I want to thank all of you for joining us tonight, and also mahalo to all of our viewers. We had a ton of viewer questions tonight. It's always so much better when we can have this sort of engagement. Our guests in studio, thank you to the Director of the State Department of Agriculture, Sharon Hurd, and from Nui Now, Indrajit, Gunasekara, Keith Weiser from the Coconut Rhinoceros Beetle Response Team, and from Hawaii Ant Lab, Michelle Montgomery. As a reminder, no insights next week. Instead, we are having our first town hall of the year, and it's on the topic of social media. With nearly 5 billion users around the world, social media can be a great way to stay connected with family and friends, but it can also be a haven for scammers, as well as a platform for potential mental health risks. Tune in next week for Kako Social Media, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Please join us then. I'm Lauren Day for Insights on PBS Hawaii. Have a great night.
Local broadcasts of Insights on PBS Hawaii are made possible by the support of viewers like you. Mahalo, and by Ulupono Initiative, building a more sustainable Hawaii by investing in local food, renewable energy, clean transportation, and waste and freshwater management. Hawaiian Electric, helping residents and businesses prepare for hurricane season. Visit hawaiianelectric.com/safety to get your emergency preparedness handbook. Carl Smith Ball, providing legal services throughout Hawaii and the Pacific since 1857, making a positive difference in the communities where we live and work.
On Masterpiece.
He comes highly recommended. We'll finally have a new assistant.
Of all your work, plus nights, plus teaching this student, what's what?
Richard Carmody from London. He won't last.
Oh, Uncle Harriet, thank goodness.
Do you always treat your animals like people? Animals are the easy part